The chronic complainers in my life have been put on notice. Hey, this is Tracy with Tracy Talks. Welcome. I don't see complainers the same. There are two types of complainers. There are the ones that complain about something once. There's been a new situation, a new circumstance, something new happened, and the frustration is there, and it feels good to just express those feelings and emotions. But then that's it. Either the situation gets resolved or they learn how to deal with the circumstances and the situations. Then there are the chronic complainers, the ones in our life who complain about the same thing over and over and over again. Nothing changes. The situation doesn't change. They don't want to have the conversation with the person. They want to avoid taking any responsibility, and they just want to complain about it. These are the people in my life that have been put on notice. And I told one person this last week, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear anything about this again. Because the circumstance isn't changing. It's the same thing over and over again. The people involved do not want to change their behaviors. They don't want to acknowledge anything. They just want to complain about it. And how many of us have these people in our life? And it's interesting, all of this pressure and this emotion and these feelings, they rise up in us and we just want to get them out. And so many of us have not been taught how to get them out of our body unless we spew them onto somebody else. And right now, I'm seeing these people as like dumping their garbage on me when I pick up the phone and I just hear complaining. It's just this spewing of the circumstance and the situation. And it's like, when people do that, they are literally treating me like a landfill. Here, I don't want all of this. I don't want to keep this in my body, so I'm going to throw it up on you, and then I'll feel better, and then you have all of my shit all over you. When are we going to stop working out our problems on other people? And this isn't easy for anybody. This isn't easy for people who have just become accustomed to complaining about everything. And the people that I know that do that typically are not open and receptive to feedback. And especially aren't open and receptive to feedback when I am in a calm and collected state, which means that I need to elevate my tone, my velocity, and the words that I use. And I can do that. And that's what I've been having to do. I don't want to hear it. Again, if it's a new situation that has come up, absolutely. If you want to talk about that, but if you've been talking about this for 10 years, no. Stop complaining about it. Either accept the circumstances as they are, make different choices, or just stop complaining. And you know what really I love is these people, and you get around them and they're complaining about the teller at the bank and how they treated them. They're complaining about their spouse, and then they're complaining about their kids, and they're complaining about so and so that lives next to them. And all I can think about is you are the common denominator in all of those circumstances. You're the problem. As someone who is just recently becoming just acutely aware of the invasive feeling that I get when I have these conversations, And sometimes the initial interaction feels irrelevant, but energetically, I can feel like the tentacles start to come out and the person just slowly trying to connect and attach. And then once that they get that connection and then they attach, then that's when the energetic exchange takes place. And it's going to be up to each of us as an individual to set boundaries, to do what you have to do to protect your energy, your mental health, your well being. There are just people walking through the world that don't want to deal with their own stuff and they want to pull energy from you. They don't want to deal with their own stuff. They just want to throw it on you. They feel a little bit better and then they just leave you in an energetic mess. And of course, I know this isn't easy. It isn't easy to disconnect. It isn't easy to separate in all of these circumstances. It's just not. But we're at this time that it's going to be necessary for each of us. If my mental health and spiritual well being is more important and has to be at the top of the priority list, and so does yours, this isn't a time where we should let anybody try to pull us back and hold us back. And that's what a lot of these people are trying to do. Keep you in place, keep you at this level that they don't want to let you go, especially if you're feeding them free energy. They don't want to let that go. Yesterday was one of my I am blocking people on social media days. And I've talked about this before. I have friends that are like, why don't you just scroll past them? And I can't. I'm not going to. I have a lot of Scorpio in my chart. I will just cut you out. Because obviously, we're not friends. And we're completely at opposite ends of what we believe and what is important just by these ridiculous posts that you share. And me seeing these ridiculous things on my feed drive me crazy. And I reached a point yesterday, I'm like, block, block. And one of these people I should have blocked several years ago, but they've been kind of quiet. And I thought maybe that they had a change of heart. And yesterday I was reminded that they have not had a change of heart and are not aligned with peace and love and well being like I am. And it is okay if you are someone like me who has a lot of Scorpio. I can go deep down into the depths of emotions with you. But at a certain point, I have to see some type of effort that people put in. Like if you're just, again, a chronic complainer and aren't trying to do things to get yourself out of the situation, I'm not just going to hang around. Maybe Tracy from a few years ago would, but this version, this upgraded model of Tracy right now, no. You're not pulling me back. You're not taking me down. I'm not going with you. And I do see a lot of people get pushback for setting boundaries. They get judged. They get put into this special box as being difficult and not being open and fair and balanced, and just be flexible and let people treat you like shit and just take it. No. Set a boundary. Own it. And just own it and just say, this is how I am. Deal with it. Find somebody else to suck energy off of. Find somebody else to manipulate and control. I don't know what to tell you. And what if you are the complainer and you have been overly relying on people around you to clean up your shit? This is a time where you need to put your big girl, big boy pants on and work through your own anger issues and figure it out. I am not a therapist. I am a person that is tired of people working their shit out on me when I have not consented to it. And I think that's a very important distinction there too, as well, where you're pissed off about something and you just start typing the text and then you hit send and I open the text and it's like, what the hell? No warning. No, this is what's going on. Like, do you have a minute? Because I'm just going to vomit shit on you and not care about what I'm going through, what's happening in my life. And this is a time where if you are someone that is just expecting your family, your friends, random people at the grocery store who you insist on telling that stupid story to every single time, there are other ways to work through emotions. Maybe just give yourself a few minutes. Don't send the text. Don't make the call. Don't start yelling. Don't get angry, but just sit in that frustration and think, Tracy doesn't want to hear this shit. I'm an adult. I can figure this out. I can work through this. I have tools. And ultimately, for the most part, when things like this happen in my life, when I get so frustrated over and over and over again with a situation, I realize I need to change the circumstances. That I'm not happy with where I'm at, whatever that looks like. If it's a relationship, if it's a job, it's some event, and I'm pissed off and I don't want to be there, and I don't like how it's going, and I don't like what's happening. Like, I am the one in charge of my emotions. Like, you are in charge of your anger. And if you're continually angry with a situation, that tells me you need to make a change. You. Because you are the one who's angry. But again, the complainers in my life are being put on notice. And I get it. I didn't get tools to work through my feelings. A lot of us Gen Xers, we didn't get any tools. But all of us Gen Xers are well into our adult life and get to own where we're at now and how we respond and how we react. I can't blame it on that situation that happened when I was 8 years old. I can't. I can blame it on my lack of willing to resolve and work through my emotions because of what happened when I was 8. But it's all on me now. And again, I'm going to make light of this situation, and I see it like in relationships as well. Like, why don't the chronic negative people match up with other chronic negative people in their relationships? And then they both can just bitch at each other. But that's not what happens. That typically this person who is loving and caring and supportive finds a vampire to latch onto them until they suck the life out of them, and then they move on to someone else, to another victim. And when that victim leaves, then they move on to somebody else. And any of us who are constantly sought out by energy vampires, if we ourselves would all just unite and get together and set boundaries, then maybe some of this cycle would stop. Not everybody's good for you. And we are changing. At least the people who want to progress on their spiritual path are changing. And there's going to be this separation. There's going to be this obvious difference. Some people are not going to be able to walk on the path. And I still see people trying to bring everybody along, like, we can't leave them behind. And I'm like, no, you cannot force somebody to make the changes that they need to make to be in alignment. We can't bring them. We can't bring them all. We can't force them to change. And it's really up to us, to each and every one of us, to protect ourselves now, to lead by example. And I don't know about you, but I'm ready to leave the chronic complainers behind. Thank you for listening to this episode of Tracy Talks. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe, and share with others who would enjoy listening to this podcast. Friends can find Tracy Talks available on iTunes, Spotify, Substack, and YouTube. Hit me up on Instagram and Facebook at More Tracy Talks. And until next time, we meet again.